Hello.
Hello.
You destroyed our friendship. Our friendship was important to me, and now we're not fucking friends anymore. I
Our
don't think it's
our
melodramatic.
our friendship was important to me too.
Great. So I don't think it's melodramatic to tell you that I think you destroyed our friendship because you tried to
Who
force yourself to
destroyed
have a
it?
conversation. You.
So, let me just introduce this. Obviously, you guys were known as friends a little while ago. Very close. There was conversations together. Stardust actually copped quite a bit of heat over her association with you. However, a few months ago, there was a monumental conversation that sullied the relationship that had been developed. And from what I understand, it led to a sort of terse exchange on stream, which then led to a number of months where you weren't really communicating with one another. Now, I floated the idea of sorting this out, and I think that, I kind of left it with you. I didn't want to push the issue, but now we have gathered here together to finally fix the tattered, frayed relationship of Mr. Girl and Stardust. Now, because I'm both a woman lover and also think that Stardust is the one that initially had the issue with what Mr. Girl said, I think what I'd like to do is just allow you maximum 5 minutes tops to explain what your issue is, and then Mr. Girl, you'll have 5 minutes to respond, and then we're just going to open up a conversation. This is to ensure that you're able to get out how you feel in a fairly reasonable time frame. So, Stardust, please,
Yeah.
by all means, explain the issue in more detail, and then go on to what you've got to say.
So we had a conversation last time we were on stream together because I really liked his video about fucking the cat. I thought it was funny, and I thought it was a really nice way to demonstrate how to tell somebody to, back off, that you're not interested.
Can I explain what you mean by my video?
Wait.
Well, no, people
Why are
don't
you
know what she's
interjecting already?
Because she said my video about fucking a cat, and I want to explain the context of what she's talking about.
Okay, I don't
I
understand
feel
why
like
you need to explain. That seems like plenty of context to me. No, okay, go on. I'll allow it. Go on. As long as
Okay.
you're okay with it, Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
I made a video called How to Say No to Sex, which is about how if somebody asks you to have sex and you're not interested, you should plainly and clearly say no rather than giving excuses or basically trying to talk them out of wanting to have sex with you. And a guide I gave for that is, imagine if someone asked to have sex with your cat, you should say no the way you would say no to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I liked
Please
it.
continue,
I thought it
Stardust.
was a funny video. And I thought it was interesting. And we started off our talk, and I basically I said to Mr. Girl that I really appreciated the video. I think a lot of women, especially younger women, are kind of socialized to not really know how to say no the correct way, socialized to kind of like do everything except give a hard, concrete no, right? And at the same time, I personally felt like it's important for me because when I say not right now, currently as I am, I have to clarify so many times to somebody that I'm interested in. I'm incredibly interested in you. I just need time, right? When I'm talking about me needing time, I need time. I have like issues, right? And so that's kind of what I was saying is like, I don't want that message to get misconstrued as me. I don't want people to all of a sudden read that as like, she's no longer interested in me, because the truth is I am interested, but I just have, I need time. And then it turned into a conversation somehow about me saying that I need time being a test, when for me it's not a test. It's quite literally, if somebody can't give me that time, it's over. It's not gonna work, And then Mr. Girl went on to talk about how, well, you should understand, if you're asking for time before getting physical with somebody, that they have the right to be angry with you or stuff like that. And then he started talking about this relationship he had with this woman who wanted to have him get tested before they got physical. And that was a whole thing. And then basically continued to tell me that what I am saying is a power move somehow. Me asking for time is a power move. Me asking for time is like a test. And for me, it's not a test. It's I have not been in a relationship for 4.5 years for a very specific reason, right? I need that. Like, I have very specific boundaries. If I can't get that, it's done. I'm not doing it, you know? And I'm willing to be by myself rather than somebody who thinks that I am asking this as from the perspective of a power move.
Okay. And sorry, I just want you to elaborate very briefly on the, my understanding is you didn't have any contact for a little while with Mr. Girl. What was the reasoning behind that before we move on to Mr. Girl?
It just felt awkward. It felt weird. And it's not like I don't wish him any harm, I don't wish him any ill will or anything like that. But there's like a fundamental difference in the way that we understand this and the way that he views it. And he thinks that people should be entitled to be angry with me for exercising just basic requests. When I say you don't have to be with me, you don't have to be with me to if that doesn't work for you, but you don't have to be angry with me either, right? Like, I don't think it's reasonable to get angry with somebody for exercising, explaining what they physically need or what they physically can't give, right, at a specific time in a relationship. So.
Okay. Right. Now, Mr. Go, you've maximum 5 minutes to respond to that and elaborate further as you see fit.
Oh, I am angry at you.
Okay.
Is that it?
I mean,
No.
for the meme, I understand because I did make a meme that.
Okay, shut up, Stardust.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
listen, let the men speak. Right, Mr. Go, go.
No, I'm angry at you for not talking to me for 3 months. When I say that it's a test, I'm not talking about your experience. I'm talking
But that's
about...
not what you were saying.
Why are you interrupting?
Sorry.
I'm talking about how it functions in the courtship or relationship or whatever. So if you say, as you just said, I ask for time, and if a man can't give me that time, we're done. This is why I haven't been in a relationship for 4.5 years, because no man has been able to... That's what I mean by test.
I'm in a relationship now.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're interrupting. What relevance is that to anything?
It's not. I'm just responding to what you just said.
Okay.
So my perspective here
I
is
thought
not...
Stardust.
Yeah, I know. My perspective here is well, I guess I can just reiterate what I was saying last time, is that a lot of men don't like being told no, and will not take no for an answer, especially if it's a vague or unclear no. And I think as a result of both women's unwillingness to set clear boundaries, and men's unwillingness to accept boundaries, we've developed a kind of coded way to deal with this, where women say no just to something, just to see how you react to it, and then gauge how safe they are with you based on that. And what you describe as, oh, I need time or I need space, some component of that feels to me, I guess, whenever it happens to me, like a test. Being human, I know that you can decide you want to have sex with somebody pretty quick. And it's worth waiting a little while to see if something contradictory to that impulse is going to surface. But what I said to you in the conversation was like, I've noticed and I feel like once you're past 30, the second date kind of makes sense to have sex on. I feel like if you can't figure out whether you should have sex with somebody by the second date or not, you're kind of lagging.
Retarded?
No, that wasn't what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I was gonna say just like a little slower, not mentally, but like in terms of how safe you feel. And if you feel really unsafe, you're going to do things that I think could be called tests. So I'm not saying that these happen for no reason, and I'm not saying that there's not men who deserve that. I'm saying that as a man who I don't think needs to be tested, it feels enraging to add to the shame women have about wanting sex, the awkwardness of whatever. It just all the lies. To add another reason for women to pretend they don't want sex when they do, or maybe this is an excuse for women to pretend they don't want sex when they. The setup of like, I'm supposed to convince you to have sex, and then you're supposed to go, oh no, I'm not ready. Oh gee, I don't know. I really can't stand it. I really don't like it. The story I told was, I'd known this woman for like a year, but we never had sex. We decided to have sex. She asked me to get tested, and I did. And then she told me she wouldn't have sex with me unless I physically showed her the test. And I was like, well, if you think I'm gonna lie to you, then I don't want to have sex with you. Like, we need some basic level of trust. If you want me to be inside your body, you need to be able to believe me when I tell you something. And if you can't, then like I don't want to. But I was really enraged by it. We didn't have sex. I was really angry about it.
Okay.
So that was the conversation.
Let's wrap it up and open it up to conversation. Come on.
Okay, so I guess we got stuck on the point of whether it is a test. It seems like you find the idea of it being called a test like an attack or demeaning, and maybe it is. And then, but I kept saying like, it seems like you're upset, and you'd be like, no. And I was like, it seems like you're mad, and you're like, no. And I was like, so you're feeling anything bad about this conversation? You're like, no. And then immediately after the conversation ends, you like look at your chat and you're like, that was weird. And you're like obviously super upset, and then you don't fucking talk to me for 3 months. So whatever I was annoyed about in the hypothetical idea of dating you has now taken over our friendship, or I essentially derailed our friendship at this point. Like I can't really even think of you as a friend now, because how can we be friends if you can't even tell me when you're obviously upset with me, on stream or off stream for 3 months? I don't see how you can have a functional. You can't even be functionally colleagues with somebody if you're going to be talking about stuff like consent and like the difficult political conversations we have that are going to cause hurt feelings and anger from time to time. If we can't talk about it.
Let me know when you're finished.
He's finished, obviously. That's fucking obvious. Go.
Okay.
Go backwards and forwards.
So, first off, that is not how the conversation played out. You were very specific in not just personalizing it, saying that it was me who was doing a test. It was me who was doing a power play. Secondly, that I initially wasn't annoyed with you. But as the conversation went on, it just seemed like you kept pushing and pushing that it was a test, it was a power play, and you were trying to get some sort of negative reaction out of me. And initially I was just like, this feels very uncomfortable. And afterwards I was I was irritated, and when you messaged me later, you said, like, we haven't been talking. I said, yeah, I feel like our last conversation left things in a really weird place.
Okay, again, I'm
Sorry to
describing...
interject, but there's a confusion that we need to correct. Okay, people are saying you're in a relationship. Just to confirm, as far as I know, you weren't in a relationship, right?
No.
At that point, when I was talking with Mr. Girl.
As in, you weren't in like a sort of romantic, sexual kind of engagement, right? You were just friends, correct?
With me, yeah.
No,
were
not with
yeah,
Mr. Girl, with somebody else. Yeah.
We've never had.
But people are confused. They think you were together. More drama. I'm trying to
No,
squash
we've never
drama.
had
Okay?
any kind of sexual relationship.
No.
Okay, I to me, the argument was about a semantic labeling of you just described the behavior, which is I tell men I need time. If they don't accept that, then they're gone.
No, I clarified in that conversation.
Oh, you said this just now.
Right, but in that conversation,
Wait, I'm trying to say something. You said this just now. You said if I ask men for time, and if they don't accept this, then they're gone. We're done. And you said that that is the reason you were single for 4.5 years.
I don't know if that was the primary reason, but I said
but you
I
but
don't
you said
mind
that.
being right. No,
You said
but
there's a reason.
what
You didn't
there-
mean there's a different reason. You meant
there's-
what
no,
I
no,
just
that's-
described is the reason.
That's one of the reasons, right?
Okay,
right?
that's fine.
But I've been,
I'm just.
but I'm
you
my
just said these things.
my
I haven't
main
even
point.
responded.
Can I just let me clarify?
No, I don't want you to clarify.
I let you
I want to-
clarify. I let you clarify. You can let me
Okay.
clarify one time.
No,
Let me-
I don't
listen,
want you to. I want to
I can
finish
split
what I'm
the
saying.
difference
Let
on
me
this. I
let me
understand what's
clarify
going-
one thing.
Why?
Okay. Because I let you clarify. So you get to interject whenever and clarify whenever you want, and I don't get to.
I think.
No,
look,
I'm not playing
guys,
this
you're not-
fucking game.
you're not- listen.
No,
Trust
I
me,
get to
guys,
interject
I-
and clarify when you say I'm allowed to. And you're asking to clarify, and I'm saying no. I want to finish my sentence.
Okay, I think the issue is this, right? Stardust doesn't interpret. It's quite clear, right? Stardust doesn't interpret what she's doing as what's called a shit test, but you do interpret it as that.
No, that's
right?
not what I'm saying.
Okay, right. What are you saying?
I'm saying.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Voila.
From now on, if you allow me to interrupt you or clarify something, that is not a point that you get to pull out later and use to interrupt me at a random time. It's called consent. My point that I'm making is that what you're describing, I'm calling a test. I don't think we really have a disagreement about what is physically happening. You're saying, if you do this thing, then you're gone. I put you in this situation, or I respond this way. If you don't like it, you're gone. I think calling that a test may sound unfair or unkind, and that's fine if you don't like that word. But the argument last time felt like you were arguing about like you couldn't even understand why I would call it that.
No, I clarified several times throughout that conversation. For other people, it may be a test. That you can find a clip of me in there saying several times. For other people, it may be a test. For me, it is not a test. For me, it is a need. It's a request, and if it's a request that it can't be filled, that's fine. And the whole reason of me bringing up the 4.5 years thing is I am willing to stay single if they're basic requirements that I need, right?
Yes,
I'm willing to stay single.
That's what a test is. So a test
No.
can be a request.
I specifically said that other people, it may be a test. It may be a
Yes,
test. They're
I
using this.
understand.
For me, it is a need.
Okay,
So-
a test can be a need. Those can be the same thing. They're not mutually
I
exclusive.
don't think so.
You're
A
making
test
okay,
implies
well,
a test implies that you're testing things out. Like it's not a need necessarily, right?
Well, a test implies, in this instance, the way I'm using the word, means that you have pass-fail conditions for somebody else's behavior. And if they don't respond to what you're doing in the way that you want, then they fail, and then you're done with them.
So then we just met each other and I say hello and you don't like the way that I say hello to you, that's a test then, and you decide to not like talk to me anymore. By that definition, anything's a test. So I mean, yeah, if you want to want to expand the definition of what a test is, we can certainly do that, but then everything under the sun is test.
Well, I think that this situation specific, it would be more like if we met and then I stood back to see if you opened the door for me walking into a coffee shop. And I'm like, if you're a traditionalist who thinks that women can't open a door for a man, then I'm done. This is our last date. Or if you were like, I'm gonna see if he'll let me pay for my own bagel. And then if I say no, I insist on paying for you, then you're like, oh, like those could be. I think it's fair to call those tests. They might also be needs. They're also requests. They could come from a very genuine place. But at the same time, it's like it's not like you actually can't be in a relationship with somebody who insists on paying for your food. It's a conditional thing. It's like, well, this tells me everything I need to know, and so I'm done. That's a test.
Okay, I can not be with somebody who is not willing to, again, and I also explained this in our last conversation.
You're describing the test now, but you're not really refuting the idea that it is a test.
Okay, let me finish.
Stardust, can I just ask you a question? Can I just ask you a quick question?
Can I finish? Okay? Can I finish first?
Yeah, I'll allow it. Go on.
Okay. So, in the last conversation we had, when I talked about needing time, one thing that I also specifically said was that when I explain to somebody that I need time, I'm very specific that I like you. This doesn't mean that I am turning you down. I'm very, very interested in you. I want to be at this place with you. I just need some more time, right? These are very clear signals that I give to somebody. When it comes to, if you're expanding the definition of what a test is to be so broad, what?
I'm not. This is a regularly accepted definition of test.
Okay, I think I can help with this. I genuinely can. Right, Stardust. I've got one question for each of you. Okay, so Stardust, why are you so averse to having, this dynamic called a test?
It wasn't even the test part. It was the implication that it was a power play, and that somebody should be entitled to be angry with me for exercising basic boundaries.
You're not
sure. I just don't want to get bogged down in the definition of test because that's boring, right?
Wait.
Sorry, go on, Mr. Sorry, mate. Go on.
Clearly, Stardust, you are averse to calling this a test.
In the way that you mean test, yes.
No, you're not. You're averse to calling it a test in any way. Clearly, you've just made this clear.
You said,
wait,
by
let me,
test.
I want to finish. You just said to call this a test, you'd have to call everything a test. There is no statement you could make that is more, this is not appropriate to call a test than that. When Chud just asked you, so why are you so opposed to calling this a test? You said, well, I'm not. So, okay,
it's
so then is it a
specifically
test?
the implication that you put towards it.
Well,
When you call something a test, Mr. Girl, you are talking about this. You are talking specifically about this being a power play, or this is like, I'm going to see how you described it last conversation.
That's fine. Let's have a little good faith, though. If you think it is a test, but you don't think it's a power play, why don't you just say that?
Because my definition of test, it includes that. My definition of test includes that it is not something that's necessary for your relationship. Whereas for me, I feel like this is something that's very necessary for my relationship.
Do you believe that when I just said I think tests can be necessary? A test can be a need.
So
I said
by
that.
your definition,
I said that. Do you think I'm trying to trick you or Trojan horse the
No,
idea in
I
there?
think
Okay.
if that's your definition of test, then sure, we can go by test, but then we've got another issue here, which is your implication that it's a power play, or your not even implication, very specific statement that it's a power play, and also your very specific statement that, oh, men, should have a right to be angry with you if you have a boundary like that.
Okay.
So, okay, Max, I wanted to ask you, because you seem very insistent on using this word test. What's the reason you think it's important that it's, defined as a test?
Because it describes how it feels to have it done to you, and it it explains the way, or encapsulates the way that it's not really true that you don't want to have sex. You do want to have sex now, but you don't think it's a good idea. And so there's a second order like
That's an
decision
assumption.
being. Well, I'm basing it off of what you just said. So if you think I'm misinterpreting it, that's fine. But the reason I'm calling it a test to answer Chud's question is there's a second order thing happening. So like if Shaylin says, do you want some ice cream? And I say, no, I've eaten too many calories today. I do want ice cream, but there's another reason I'm saying no, because I'm thinking ahead. And I think test encapsulates the combination of a conditional situation. I want to see how you react, because if you react a certain way, I don't want to be with you. And then also, I'm saying no to sex even though I want to have it, but more than that, I want to be able to say no to sex. So I'm saying no because I want to make sure that the brakes work before I get on this train.
I mean, that may be the case for other people, again. That may be the case for other women. But that is not the case for me.
This is not about your... this is not... No woman walks around thinking, I like to test men and make power plays. That's not how... People don't think of themselves that way. That's how we talk about other people. We never talk about ourselves that way.
You're
like the way you're
making an
talking about...
Though. You're
No,
still
this
making an
is... This
assumption.
is... No, I'm going to tell you...
What you are making an assumption is about why I have to say that. Why I have to say that is different. There may be people who, like you said, who subconsciously need what you're talking about. But for me, that is not the case. For me...
How would you know if you don't subconsciously need something?
I am not saying that I need more time to see a reaction from somebody.
How would you know? How do you know your own subconscious?
Because I communicate very clearly with my partner that.
How do you communicate something you don't know?
I explained it to you earlier in this conversation.
How can you explain something that you yourself don't know?
Again, okay. So let me explain to you again. I communicate when we reach this area.
I just want to answer this one question.
I specifically say that, hey, I do want to be with you. I am interested in you, but
I understand.
Mentally,
I heard
now, I am not. Okay, then you get it then. Or what do you not get?
I get your narrative of yourself. But what you just said is, I don't subconsciously do this to test people. And my question is, how would you know that? How can you know your own subconscious?
Well, okay, so I don't do it to... I can't speak on my own subconscious, right?
Great.
But I'm
okay,
sure
well, you just
what you're
did.
saying...
So let's...
I'm sure what you're saying is true for some women, but it is not the case for me, because I'm as direct as possible with my partners about this as I can be.
Okay, it is impossible to be direct about your own unconscious motivations, because you can't know them. So that is why you'll say something about me like, it seems like Mr. Girl was trying to make me have a negative emotional reaction. You don't think that I am thinking that. You don't think I'm sitting here thinking like, I really got to get a negative emotional reaction out of Stardust. Like I'm so fucked up about this consent thing. I hate women. I hate my mother. I hate Stardust. I'm resentful. I want content. You don't think I'm thinking these things. You think that is an unconscious maneuver I'm making in the conversation, unbeknownst to myself. You think I am unconsciously trying to provoke you, right? You don't think
No.
I'm sitting here you think
No.
you think I'm consciously trying to upset you.
Yes.
So you think I'm just, well, then why are you talking to me?
Wait, I think that's a bit. Listen,
Maybe not right now,
What
but
makes you
in the
think that?
previous conversation, 100% you were
Now we're
trying to
getting
get a
into it.
negative reaction. Yeah.
Why,
Okay,
why
that's
would
a
I
big
lie
moment.
about?
Okay,
Wait, why would I lie about that?
I was fine. I was civil throughout that conversation. You were the one who had an issue throughout that conversation. You were the one who had an attitude problem throughout that conversation. And then you were the one who took every opportunity to twist what I was saying into some sort of power play.
I get why you're saying I was trying to upset you. What I don't get is why you think I was consciously trying to upset you and why I would lie about it now.
I think that you were resentful, and whether that's conscious or subconscious, I can't really say. But you were
Well, you
very
just
clearly
did. That is
resentful.
the only
Okay,
point
okay.
of contention right now is
let's
was
clear
I
it. Let's clear it. Strike it from the record. Okay. What I can't say whether it was conscious or subconscious, but I do know you were very resentful in that conversation, and as a result of you being resentful, you decided to purposely be antagonistic with me, purposely call something that I'm telling you is not a power move, and telling me it's a power move.
Purposely means consciously. So again, the only reason I mention it is not
You can
I don't,
purposely be antagonistic while still not knowing the true motives, right?
okay, that's fine. So the only reason I bring it up is people generally don't think of themselves as behaving badly. They don't think, oh, I'm going to test this person. They don't think, oh, I'm going to rape this person. They don't think, oh, I'm going to manipulate this person. I'm going to interrupt this person. I'm going to not listen to this person. I'm going to try to provoke this. That's not how people think. Right? So when I say that you're testing people, I'm not saying you think you're testing people. And so no explanation of what you're thinking is relevant. Just like if I say, oh, no, I wasn't provoking you. Here's what I was thinking. It doesn't matter what I can tell you that I don't think I was provoking you, but I can't tell you I wasn't doing it. Thinking you're doing something is not the same as actually doing something. And thinking you're not doing something is not the same as not doing that thing.
It feels like we should move on from the testing. I don't know if we're going to get anywhere with that, but to me, it seems like that is the surface level thing, and there's actually much deeper roots here, like the fact that you felt you were being antagonized on purpose, right? Like that's going to be upsetting in that moment. So what you're saying, Mr. Go, is you weren't intentionally trying to antagonize, but your actions could have antagonized, but you weren't trying to do it in a mean or a harsh way. Right?
I was making an aside to show Stardust that she too, like every other fucking person on the planet, when you say, oh, this person is doing XYZ, you don't mean they think they don't identify as doing XYZ. So when I say you're making a power play, I'm not saying you think you're making a power play. So you explaining like, no, I'm not testing people. I'm really clear about that. Doesn't matter. Describing if you think you're testing people is not the same as talking about whether you're testing them.
Right. But
Okay.
being that clear with somebody, you're laying everything out. You're laying everything out for them. Like what else is there to be said? There's no power play there when I'm being completely open with why, with what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling a certain way. There's no power play there. It's here is everything for you. Here's all of my shit out in the open for you. And if anything, you know what? You have the right to walk away. That's fine.
I don't think it is possible to do what you're describing. I don't think you can know your own unconscious. And so therefore it's not really possible to define your own behavior for someone else. Like there's people watching this who agree with you. who think I'm just trying to upset you. I'm an asshole. I'm a rapist, and I just can't stand the idea of a woman saying no to me in friendship or in a relationship or sex or in conversation. That's what they're thinking, right? And no amount of me saying, no, 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 I just explained it. I just explained it. I just laid it all out for you. Why don't you guys get this? That has no effect on what they think of me. My own narrative of myself, there's no way to be like, I'm so open that everything I think about myself should supplant everything you think about me, and I can just tell you what to think about me.
No,
That's
I'm
not
not saying
how
I'm not
people
saying
interact.
that. Sure, I'm not saying that about me as a person, but I'm talking about specifically that interaction. I lay everything out, and if anything, that person has the power to walk away or stay. As far as I don't think you're a rapist, right? I just think that you're an asshole. And I just think that
But do you
what
think
first
I
off,
think I'm an asshole?
first off, I do think you think you're an asshole, yeah.
No, I don't.
There's no way you don't know you're an asshole, dude.
I don't think I'm an asshole. I think I'm an exceptionally kind and honest and warm person. I think one of the most unique things about me.
That last
I think
conversation was really warm, wasn't it?
absolutely. I was like, "Hey, are you upset? What's going on with you?" I checked in with you like
You were
25
being
times.
you were being such a fucking prick while you were checking in. Oh, let me push this person. Let me tell them what they're doing is a power play, and then check immediately after. Oh, are you okay?
Wait,
Are you
wait.
feeling okay? How the fuck
No,
am I
no.
supposed
Okay.
to react to that?
Well, since my personality is on trial, I'd like to respond to you. I don't
Okay.
think warm does not mean non-antagonistic. Warm does not mean non-confrontational. Warm doesn't mean I'm going to fucking lie to you to protect your feelings. If we're going to have an honest conversation, there people are watching, right? There's a lot of people watching because they want to see us say honest shit to each other. They want to know what we actually think about this shit. So if I think you're making a power play, I'm going to tell you as your friend, as your colleague, I will tell you I think you're making a power play. I'm not doing that because
Okay,
I'm
so
an
can
asshole.
we acknowledge one thing?
No, I want to finish saying what I'm saying.
Okay.
So yes, when I say I'm warm, I'm saying I am empathetic. I can tell you're upset. I care that you're upset. I'm checking in with you about being upset. I'm opening the floor for you to talk about why you're upset with me. Something 99.99% of streamers will not do. Most streamers would never ever give you the opportunity to tell you in real time, or for you to tell them in real time what you think about what they're doing and how your feelings are hurt, and to check in with you. No, people don't do that. They don't fucking care. They can't. They couldn't even have the conversation if they wanted to. So yes, I think I am a kind, honest, warm person. I don't think I'm an asshole.
Okay, so
I
I
don't
would
know if we're
just
going to
like
get very
to.
far arguing about, okay, your
I
interpretation
just
of
want to say
Max's
one
character,
thing,
right?
okay? I think
Yeah,
we
go
need to
on.
acknowledge one thing, okay? Earlier on in this conversation today, Mr. Girl said that him describing it as a test wasn't necessarily describing me. He has now moved and he is now acknowledging that it is about me. So I would just like everybody to acknowledge that.
No, it's not about what you're thinking of yourself, is what I meant. Yes, I was telling you
I
that I think
specifically.
the way that you interact with men involves a test that I'm familiar with. And what I said to you is, if you wait 4 dates to have sex, that's less of a test than if you wait 40 dates. And I asked you at some point you would agree like this is ridiculous, right? I said if you told somebody I don't have sex till the 50th date, almost everybody would be like, well, I'm out. I don't want to deal with this. And you agreed with that. So then I tried to move it to the question is, what level of hold your horses there? At what point does it become an acceptable test or an unacceptable test? Like
Again,
I'm not coding what I think of you. I could tell you what I fucking think of you.
I think your definition of test is so broad that you can apply to anything. And yes, with your definition of test, we can call what I said a test. I don't have that definition of test though. To me, a test is not something that's necessary, right? A test is something you're testing. You're quite literally testing somebody. That it doesn't have real stakes in it when you're testing somebody. When you're testing somebody, you're just seeing. Right, but when it's a necessary, okay, right. I'm telling you my definition, right? I already got your definition. I'm telling you my definition.
I don't think you
what
did.
My definition is that to me this is a necessary need in this relationship. It is not a power play. It's here it is. And we'll figure out if it works from there or not. But that's not a test to me. A test is something that is not necessary.
I understand that. I think testing and boundaries and power plays are a necessary part of relationships. The question is, at what point do they, how do they make the other person feel? And do they serve you well? I guess if you're evaluating, like, if it's a good test. The best way to test if somebody's a good person to have sex with is to just have sex with them. The reason I'm calling it a test is because that poses a risk to you. So instead of emotionally jumping in and seeing what happens, like dating itself is a test. You don't just move in with a person or marry them. You test them out for a while. What you're doing is another step removed back from that of like, I feel like something bad might happen if I had sex with you. So we're going to delay until I get a stronger sense that that's not the case. And everybody does that. But clearly you are doing it more than most people in our age group, right?
The test?
The delay of sex.
Maybe a little bit more.
Because in my experience, since turning 30, pretty much every person I've ever dated is like, well, like we talk for like 2 or 3 hours and I've decided if I want to have sex with you or not.
So I just want to ask something important here, because I think one other problem is Stardust. It seems like you see like a power move or whatever is a bad thing. But Mr. Girl, you just said you see it as an essential part of a relationship. So there's one issue here that, you see it as like Mr. Girl as a morally neutral thing, potentially, but Stardust sees it as a bad thing, right? And maybe that's causing the issue.
Power play is intentional. In my head, a power play is intentional.
I don't think. Okay, I didn't mean
And
that
a power
you're
play
trying
is
to make a power play.
also unnecessary. Power play is also something that's unnecessary.
I am calling this a power play because I find it annoying, and because I think it's unreasonable. But
Do you
that doesn't
think it's
mean
bad?
Yeah,
Unreasonable, yeah.
I think it's bad. Well, I don't think all. Okay, you could do something and then you could do something and then call something reasonable or something I think is reasonable and still technically make it a power play. The reason I'm using the word power play, yes, is obviously pejorative, and I'm saying that I have a negative reaction to.
But you said it's part of a relationship, so how can it be a pejorative when you say it's also part of a relationship?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Okay, I'm saying that that the act of
It's not
grabbing
part of a
power.
relationship, that's why.
I'm saying that the act of grabbing. Well, I don't know what part of most relationships are. I think we need to dispel the idea of an ideal relationship that we're talking. There's no such thing. Okay, relationships are horrible and people are constantly terrible all the time. There are things you can do in a relationship to gain power, that you should do, that everybody does to advocate for themselves. And then if you do it too much, somebody like me will call it a power play. That's what I mean. And so it's just a spectrum of like how much do you need this power and what did you do to get it? And then at a certain point, it's like if you're asking, I won't kiss you until we've been dating for 2 years. I think we would all agree like that's unnecessarily controlling. But it may be necessary to.
We agree. We agree on it being unnecessary. Unnecessary being a fundamental adjective in this.
I want you to just listen for a second. Can you do that?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. So, my point is that at a certain age and a certain maturity level, what may be necessary for you personally and reasonable given your psychology, like it may be that you are absolutely terrified of having sex with anybody that you haven't been dating for 3 months. So if you're asking me like what would my advice to you be, then it would be like don't, I'm not saying you should just do it. I don't know what you should do, but I'm not saying that it's right for you. I'm saying that the average experience of dating in your 30s is not really like that. That's more what it's like to date a 14-year-old. So like when I was 14 and girls and I were like, oh, well, we shouldn't, like, we're alone. We've been dating for 3 months, but like, we're not going to just fuck because like it's terrifying. So we'll just like make out a bunch, but we're not like, that's too much. That feels very like middle school or high school to me. I'm not saying that you should just force yourself to, but I'm saying the experience of it for me, especially when it's like politicized, it feels it's because I'm a man. It's a very male experience in this country of like being told like, well, you might be a horrible person, so I want to have sex with you, but we need to wait to see if you're a fucking piece
Do
of
we
shit
want to compare
first.
this to other countries?
No. Not really. I was raised here, and so I have the expectation of this country. Of American norms.
You're saying it's politicized. You're saying it's politicized because you're a man, because we're in this country, which may be true. But then I would also say that if you look at other countries, it changes, right? It's just going to be different.
This may be part of the reason for your different values.
I just want also you basically did agree with me with what you were saying when you talk about something being a power play, when you talk about something being a test. You agreed with me that it's unnecessary. So you contradicted yourself. Earlier in this conversation, you said that it may be necessary. No, but you said earlier, you just said that it's unnecessary and it's unreasonable.
Okay.
These are two adjectives that you've used.
I need you to adopt a more nuanced and multifaceted lens.
I am being very nuanced with you.
Okay, so then I need you to understand that when I say something is unnecessary, objectively, I'm saying like it is not something that the average person would think of as necessary. So if you have OCD, you need to wash your hands 500 times a day. We call that a disorder because the rest of us are like, that's not really necessary. But if you have OCD, to you it absolutely is necessary. And the solution to it may not be to just stop doing it. So I'm not saying it's not necessary for you. I'm not saying it's not a need. It may be absolutely essential for you to not even make eye contact with a man on a date till you've been dating for 5 years. It is totally possible for that to be your need. But to somebody else, you would be called controlling. So and at some points in the conversation, I'm empathizing with you and I'm talking about your perspective and I'm saying, yeah, a test can be a need, absolutely. But that's what I'm talking about, your experience of it. That's your need. A test can also, to the other person, feel like a power play. A need can feel like a power play. A boundary, like to a rapist.
But it's
even just
not
saying,
a power
even
play.
saying,
So it feels like one, but it's not one.
I'm saying there's no objective truth.
It feels like a power play, but it's not a power play. You're saying it feels like one, but you're not describing it as a power play, right?
I'm saying there's no objective truth to whether something is a power play. It's just a matter of perspective. If you're terrified of sex, then it's obviously not going to feel like a power play. To you, it's going to feel like just protecting yourself. To the other person, it's going to feel like a power play, most likely.
It feels like one, but it's not one.
But here's a question, Stardust, right?
There is no answer to whether it is or isn't a power play.
You called it one earlier, right?
Yes.
And you're saying that it feels like
God.
one
Listen,
now.
Stardust, something like this is important. I can ask you a important question, okay? If you think it's not a power play, but every single person in the world thinks it is a power play, then what is it?
It's
like
both.
perception is everything. Perception
Sure.
is everything, right?
It's both. from your perspective, obviously you're not intending to make a power play, and I've already assured you that this is not what I think of you. I don't think you're meaning to make a power play. I think your
Well, it's
experience is that
contradicting what you said in the past.
it seems contradictory if you need to slap a label, an objective label on it. But I need you to peel that label off and understand that there's actually going to be 2 or 3 different labels. There's going to be your internal label of your narrative of yourself, in which case you're obviously not going to label your own behavior a power play. Maybe after the fact, but while you're doing it, it's very unlikely. Especially something you intend to keep doing, you don't think it's a power play. And given how you feel, which I assume is absolutely terrified, then I think that's a good way to think of yourself. However, you should be aware that to the people, the other person in this scenario, they very likely are going to label it as a power play.
A power play includes the intentionality.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't.
What is a power play? A power play, by definition, includes the intention.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Most people
your definition of power play is as broad as your definition of test. Then
people we think of as controlling assholes do not think of themselves that way. We just proved it just now. You tried to get me to admit that I'm an asshole. I think I'm a really nice person.
I think you can be a nice person, but I also think that you have a very abrasive side to you.
I think I am a nice person. I don't think I'm an asshole. You think that. Assholes don't walk around thinking of themselves as assholes.
Yeah, of course.
Generally. Okay, great. So people who make power plays do not think of themselves as people who make power plays.
There's still an intentionality in power play, whether you think
the thought behind a power play can be I want to feel safe.
I don't think so.
Absolutely. Okay, that's fine. Then maybe we're just using the word differently. But there's my point is that in order to understand what I'm talking about, you would need to be, and I think you don't want to do this because it seems to make you feel violated, but you would need to be able to hold your perspective that this is a need and a reasonable thing for you to do, and my perspective that it's a manipulative power play and a test that you shouldn't be doing at the same time. And I think it's very uncomfortable for you to do that. So you're kind of flip-flopping between the two, and that's why you're not going to get
we're talking about a mentally deranged person, that
you're not going to get any resolution on what I actually think. Somebody breaking into your car so they can steal money to feed their kids is not thinking of themselves at the way that you're going to think of them when you find your car window broken. You need to be able to hold both.
Yeah, I can hold that, but power play is very different from like the person breaking into your car because they need money to eat, right?
Well, you don't think about why the person broke into your car. You just think some fucking asshole broke into my car. What's happening to this city? What fucking scum stole my shit?
Okay, somebody thinking something is a power play does not mean that it is a power play. But
the person doesn't think of themselves as scum who steals shit. They think of themselves as a poor person who needs money.
Yeah, and they may not be scum.
No one is scum, Stardust. It's a question of perspective.
Yeah.
If you don't ever see the person,
right,
you don't have to look in their eyes. You don't have to look into their kids' eyes. Of course, they're going to be scum to you because all you know about them is that they did this fucking annoying thing, which is why I'm saying
we can look at people and objectively say that they're scum, right? I think we can do that.
No, we can't.
I think we can.
What?
No, we can't.
Yeah.
That is insane. Absolutely fucking not. That you're mental. You're absolutely.
Let me explain.
Disgusting anti-human statement.
Okay. All right. Somebody who rapes and murders a daughter and a mother and a daughter, I think we can say is probably scum.
No,
I think that's kind of based.
No, we can't.
You think it's kind of based?
No, we can't call them scum.
I think we can. If somebody rapes and kills a mother and her daughter.
Stardust, okay, this is what happens when you let women on the internet. Okay, let me ask you this: give me a definition.
No,
of scum. Listen to me.
How about this?
Give me a definition of scum.
Okay.
Give me a definition of scum that includes everyone that's scum and excludes everyone that isn't. Go.
No, I can't give a definition of scum, but I think we can objectively look at specific actions and say that's scummy behavior.
How can you objectively do it if you can't even fucking say what it is?
Wait, scummy behavior is different from scum.
Yeah, if somebody has a pattern of scummy behavior, then yeah, maybe they are scum.
Okay,
But
that's
you
fine.
don't even
If
know what
that's,
you can't even explain what it means. That's the problem.
That's fine if you-
That's not the problem. The problem is that definitions of like that when you put a label on somebody, it's a little bit more complicated. People have to have a pattern of behavior, right, to
Okay.
really fall into specific labels. Something as extreme as calling somebody scum, right? You have to
Okay,
have a
I think-
pattern of behavior to get. And most people are not scum. It's going to be like 0.0001% of anybody.
Okay, I think that your perspective is
So you're fucking retarded, okay? Chud, shut the fuck up. Okay, sorry, continue, Mr.
No,
Crow.
I'm not. Okay, go on.
okay. I think that
I'll let you have that one.
I think this system of labeling scum and not labeling scum, I think you'll notice if you examine it that the closer you are to someone, the less likely you are to label them scum.
Sure.
So if one of my best friends killed a mother and her daughter and raped them beforehand, I would absolutely be prepared to see every single person in the country on social media calling them scum. But would I call them scum? Probably not. I probably wouldn't think of them as scum. I would think like, Jesus Christ, why didn't you? What were you thinking? How could you do this? Why didn't you tell me you needed help? Me of all people. How could you keep that you want to do these horrible things? Like that's how I would be thinking of them. I would think of them as like a broken, twisted, fucked up person, but not scum. I would never dismiss. You wouldn't dismiss somebody like that. And you'll notice when we first met, you talked to me. We had an intimate conversation, and then suddenly everybody was calling me scum, but you didn't think of me as scum. You didn't even really disagree with their criticisms of me. You were just like, no, but I know him. Once you know somebody, you don't call them scum. And that's why I'm giving the carjacker analogy, is because all you see is you see their semen stains left on your car seat because they're a schizophrenic person, right? But if you
What are the semen stains? What's that about?
say somebody broke into your car and jacked off on your car seat, you're gonna call them scum, right? But if you're their mother and you watch them slowly develop symptoms of schizophrenia throughout high school, and then you had to you had to send them away in this heartbreaking moment where they wouldn't stop shitting on your floor or trashing your house. You had to send them some swanky treatment facility. Then they escaped. Now they're homeless. You don't even know where they are. And then somebody says, "Oh, so we found your piece of shit son." Like, no, you're not going to think of them as scum.
No, you
because
won't.
you know them.
Right,
you
but
know
again,
them.
what I'm saying,
all
when
of this, all of this, I just want to bring it back to when I'm saying you're making a power play. I'm saying from the perspective of the person you're doing it to, it feels like a power play. I am still able to hold your humanity and your psychology and all of your feelings about this in my head at the same time that I say it's a power play.
I think it's bullshit. I think
That's fine.
everything you're
That's
saying
fine.
is absolute fucking bullshit. I
That's
think
fine.
that
I
a
would like
power play is very.
I would like to
Okay,
finish
go ahead.
what I'm saying now.
Good.
Okay. I can tell you that you're making a power play while still having empathy for why you personally would need to do that. My guess is that there is a lot of terror and trauma involved, and I get it. It's not hard to extrapolate why somebody would need to be so protective and careful around sex. I understand that, but I'm saying that from the perspective of the other person, it can be really fucking annoying.
But it being fucking annoying isn't a fucking power play, Max.
That is literally what
It's
makes
not a
something
fucking power play. No.
Yes.
Let me finish what I'm saying, okay? So,
Okay,
power
can you
play.
finish it while with this idea in your mind? You are going to have a definition of your own behavior of not being a power play.
I'm not even
and
fucking talking about my own fucking behavior, dude. I'm talking a power play again. Specifically
no
has
such thing as
intentionality.
power-
How
there's
is
no- there's no
wanting to
such
be
thing as an
safe a
actual
power
power play.
play? There is an actual power play. This is just again this
Okay.
this turned into an hour long.
Do you want me to give you a scenario
I
in
don't
which
give
somebody?
a fuck about your scenario, bro.
Well, you just asked a question. You asked a rhetorical question.
Let me finish
but
what I'm
it shouldn't be
fucking
rhetorical.
saying. I let you speak. Just like okay, so let me
Let's
finish.
not finish. Go on, Stardust. Go on.
Okay. I think there are objective things you can say are power play. There are
there
objective
aren't.
things you can look at behavior and say, hey, that behavior is objectively kind of
No,
fucked up.
That's not
You're
true.
interrupting me.
You did no. Okay. Do you know what objective means?
Oh, you know what? Shut the fuck up, Chud.
I just think you're making really bad points.
I think you're a fucking idiot, Chud. How about that? Okay. So so again, there are specific things that people do. If somebody calls you the N-word and says it with vitriol, you can say, hey, they did something that objectively seems pretty racist, right? They're calling you the N-word with vitriol. They're saying it. They don't know you. Objectively, you know that is a racist thing. They have committed a racist action, right?
That's a
Objectively.
tautological definition. Calling someone the N-word is most people's definition of racist. So yes. However, when you're reading into how to evaluate their motivations for doing
their motivations, regardless, we know that like the motivation there was specifically if they're saying it with vitriol, if they're calling you the N-word with vitriol,
Yes,
and you are a
okay.
person of color, you know that the intentionality is there.
But the word power play implies a moral or usefulness evaluation made on the part of the person using the word, where racist doesn't really. Calling someone the N-word with vitriol is tautologically, definitionally racist. Whether something's a power play depends on the evaluation of the speaker. The person who's labeling it a power play has to evaluate.
I don't
well,
think
how
so.
much? How?
Again, I think there are specific actions you can look at. You can look at the intentionality and the circumstances around that action and specifically label it something objectively.
You can label some things, yes. But power play specifically,
I think you can
is
do
an
the same thing with power play.
Power play specifically means that the person using the word has made an evaluation that the maneuver is unreasonably power grabby. So if somebody says, "Hey, can I have sex with you
So
right
again,
now?" and you say-
unreasonable.
if you say, someone says, "Can I have sex with you right now?" and you say no, most people are not going to look at that interaction and call it a power play. If you say, "Can I have sex with you in the next 3 weeks?" and you've been dating the person for several months and you say no, at that point people are going to be like, well, now that is a power play. Like you just will never have sex. Like, why are you even in a relationship in the first place? That's when you'll start. If you tell people that story, they'll be like, I don't know if you should be with this person. I don't even know if they like you. I don't know what's going on. But that's weird. That's not good. If you say, "Can I have a hug?" and your partner says, "I want space," like, you can't have a hug right now. Is that a power play? To some people, yes. To some people, no. If you say, "Can I have a hug ever?" and your partner says, "I don't know, we'll see." Most people then are going to.
I see you opening your mouth, Chud. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear a word out of you.
So I'm trying to demonstrate to you that power play is not like the term racist. It implies an evaluation of the whole situation, the relationship, and including the context. If we were in a different country, like if I went to Japan, I assume that there are more people like you in Japan than people like me. I assume this is a more of a cultural norm to be like, oh, I know we shouldn't. I don't want to. Even when you're 30, even when you're 40, even when you're 50. And so I probably wouldn't make as much sense to call it a power play there, because it'd be like, well, this is just how it is.
A lot of people in my chat are asking you to step on them, Stardust. How do you feel about that?
I'm not interested. What did I tell you about talking?
My apologies. Continue with your amazing points.
Is that sarcasm?
No, a British person being sarcastic? Absolutely no way.
Okay, so if you're being sarcastic, you can just leave the fucking call. Like, I'm not interested.
Jesus.
Instead of
I'm just trying to have the conversation move forward.
Okay, you're based on the 3 months of silence from you. I don't think that you are emotionally or psychologically ready to have a debate about this. I think what you should have done is, as soon as you realized it was going to make you flip out, is you should have been like, you know what, I can't really handle talking about this. And that would be absolutely a respectable thing to do. What's not respectable is for you to destroy our friendship because you are forcing yourself to do something, ironically, that you actually don't want to do.
No, I'm
You don't
fine.
want to. You don't want to have
I'm
this debate.
fine with us having our conversation, but
It
again,
doesn't
I
seem
would,
like it.
I would, I
then
would
why the
point.
fuck did you stop talking to me for 3 months? Obviously, this topic is traumatic for you, and you can't talk about it.
It's not that I stopped talking to you. It's just I didn't really make too much of an effort. I still, when we interacted,
I asked you to talk about this several times and to try to repair our relationship, and you just either didn't respond.
Busy.
Okay, fine. Maybe you're too busy to be friends, or maybe this topic is too traumatic for you, and you shouldn't fucking be debating about it online.
Okay, so if we can continue our conversation, you specifically brought up again.
I feel like I'm raping you.
You're not raping me, dude.
It feels like I am. It
let's
feels
just
like
take a-
it feels
let's take a
like you
breather.
actually
Okay,
can't
just-
handle talking about this.
let's
I'm
rewind.
fine talking
you're
about
pretending
it.
you can.
I'm
It feels
fine
like,
talking
it feels like
about
having
it.
sex with some. It feels like having sex with somebody
Okay.
who is dissociating and shuddering and shutting
right.
down, and their eyes are
Okay,
rolling back
so
in their head,
can we-
and then they're like, "Oh no, I'm fine. I can keep going." And
You're
it's like,
being
well,
really
I-
melodramatic
right,
right
come
now. You're being very melodramatic.
You
Tony,
destroyed our
this.
friendship. Our friendship was important to me, and now we're not fucking friends anymore. I don't think it's melodramatic.
Our friendship was important to me too.
Great. So I don't think it's melodramatic to tell you that I think you destroyed our friendship because you tried to force yourself to
destroyed
have
it?
a conversation. You. Because you have no fucking boundaries. I get why you have to hold people at arm's length when you start dating them now. Because you don't know how to say like, "Hey, I don't want to talk about this."
Let's just calm it down a bit. We're getting a bit
No,
heated.
I'm fine
Okay.
talking about this. So
Of course I'm here. What do you want me to like? One of my friends stopped being friends with me because I made her mad or hurt her. Well,
Okay,
of
but do
course
you
I'm
need to bring
heated.
up? Do you need to bring the rape thing into it though, Gus?
Yeah, I think it's related. Absolutely.
I don't think so.
Why? You did to me the exact fucking thing I was saying I don't like being done to me. I failed your test. Now we're not friends anymore.
I just
Of course it's tested. It's so fucking disingenuous. You're such a
still
fucking
viewed-
liar. You
I
sat there, you
still
looked me
viewed
in, you
us-
looked me in the fucking eye and you told me you weren't upset 20 times. And then you ended the call and immediately say, "Yeah, I was upset. He was trying to get a negative reaction out of me." You lied to my fucking face and you ruined our friendship as a result. Of course I'm
So
heated.
in the moment, like I said, initially in the moment, I was not aware that I was upset.
But you became aware at some point and you did not talk to me about it.
It's
at that
yeah,
point.
and
So what
I
kind of
just,
friendship can we have if we're going to talk? How can we talk about rape
Because
and
it
argue
felt-
about our dating habits? But if we
because
get
we
mad
were
at each other, we
already-
stop being friends.
because we were already in the middle of a very heated discussion, a very tense discussion, where you were talking about things that I find necessary are unreasonable and unnecessary and a power play. I'm already in a
Yes.
position where I'm arguing with you about something so tense. So if you're asking me, "Hey, are you mad at me?" I'm not mad at you, but I'm incredibly uncomfortable at that point. I don't think I
That's
realized
fine.
I was mad at you.
Okay, then you could have said I'm saying you could have said any of this at any point. So
Right,
the
and
reason
afterwards,
the reason I'm heated right now is that you did not do that.
Yeah, and I didn't know what my feelings were completely at that point in time.
That's fine, but that's not my fault. So I want you to
Okay,
look me in the
that's
eye,
fine.
look me in the eye and tell me that you think if you knew how you felt and you told me how I felt, tell me you think that I would have just kept pushing on.
No, I don't. If I knew how I felt, and if I knew I was that uncomfortable, and I
We would've
told
talked
you I
about
was,
it.
yeah, we would have probably talked about it in some
I
other
would
way.
have empathized with you. I probably
Yeah.
would have even taken care of you. I would have helped lead
That's
the conversation
that's
to a
fucking
place.
gay, and I don't need you to take care of me. But okay, yeah, go.
Somebody should. And you didn't. And now you're saying I wrecked our friendship when, by your own admission, if you had been more attuned to your own feelings, set boundaries like you should have, and talked about your feelings like you were invited to multiple times, this wouldn't have happened. So I don't think it's my fault.
You know, I tried to be as honest as possible with you during that conversation, and just because I don't know my exact feelings in that point in time doesn't mean that either one of us is at fault. I wasn't blaming
It
you
certainly
for
doesn't mean I'm at fault.
I mean, I wasn't blaming you for our relationship falling apart.
You are. You were blaming me because you said in the conversation I'm trying to make you have a negative emotional reaction.
I do think that you were trying to make
No,
me
I'm
have
not.
a negative
I'm just trying to
emotional
not. I'm just
reaction.
trying to not be controlled and silenced by somebody who is signaling that they're uncomfortable, but who won't say it. I got a lot of flack from my own audience after that. A lot of people were like, you could tell she was upset. Like, yeah, that's why I asked her if she's upset. But apparently, according to most people, it is the job of the man to determine
I
your
was
unconscious
not
feelings.
aware.
I know, to determine your unconscious feelings and then make a decision for you about whether or not you consent
I
to
don't
an
think
interaction.
I don't think you need to make a
Fucking
decision
no,
for me.
absolutely great. So that I didn't. So I just said, okay,
Yeah,
well then I guess
so
we'll keep
that's
talking.
fine.
I
That's
checked
fine.
in with
We
you and I
kept
said,
talking.
okay, I get.
We kept talking,
Yeah, we
but
kept
I still
talking, and then
think
you
that you're
stopped,
fucking.
and then you stopped.
But that's
and
not
you
the
stopped
issue
speaking to me
here.
for 3
That's
months
not
as a
the
result.
issue here. The issue is I took issue with you calling something that is necessary for me as unreasonable, a power play, and unnecessary.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
There is no
when I- when-
intentionality behind what
okay,
I'm doing
let me
for it to
tell
be
you
a power
something.
play.
Let me tell you something about the Mr. Girl friendship experience. If you think that being my friend means that if you describe something as necessary to you, then it is unassailable. And I'm not going to say, well, this is controlling behavior. You're being possibly abusive. What if it's necessary for you to hit your partner? You want me to tell you, oh, well, if you say
It's
it's
not.
necessary, if you really lose your shit,
Wait a second. There's a big
what if it's
difference between
necessary for you to
that.
cheat? What if it's necessary for you to steal
Okay,
or
but there's a difference
pathologically
between
lie?
that and what
Wait,
Stardust is saying. Come on, that's about fucking
I want
unreasonable.
to finish.
Yeah,
I want
it's
to
really
finish what I'm
fucking-
saying. I want to finish what I'm saying. The idea that something being or feeling because it's not actually necessary, right? Like this is a feeling. It's the word necessary in this case is used to mean I am very, very uncomfortable with this thing, and so this is how I'm going to behave. It's a need. We can call it that, but it's not literally like it's not like food or air or water. The idea that if you describe something as a need, then therefore I'm not going to give you any negative feedback about it, then yeah, don't be my friend.
You know what? You can give negative feedback on it, but then I am still entitled to tell you that I think you're fucking wrong, and I think you're a fucking wreck of a human being if you think that something like that is a power play.
That's fine. You could tell me that, and I would still be friends with you. But you didn't. Instead, you ditched me.
You are so quick to look for somebody to blame in this situation when that doesn't need to be the case.
No, once again, I have empathy for you. I understand that this is like a big
I am not
invisible...
blaming
understand
you
that. I know.
for
Well, you
our
did blame-
friendship
you-
falling apart. I just think that you're fucking wrong.
I know. You're not blaming me. You're just saying I'm a wreck of a human being. You're not
Well,
an
I think-
asshole. But you're not blaming me. I have empathy for you, Stardust. I understand
I'm friends with lots of assholes. You are not the only one.
Okay, I understand.
We've got another one in the call with us right now, so.
I understand that this is an invisible wall for you that we ran into, and that you didn't see it coming. You didn't know it was there, and I don't even think you knew we ran into it until weeks later. I have empathy for you. I think I even understand why it's there. I think I can probably guess why it's there. So I'm not just blaming you. Once again, I have your perspective in mind, but my perspective
So you are
is
blaming me.
no, I'm not. My perspective
This
is
went
that you ditched-
immediately to blame. This really did.
My perspective is that you ditched me, and I'm very angry at you about it.
Sorry for ditching you.
I don't want your apology.
But I felt very, very uncomfortable, and that was
Okay.
the way that I knew how to deal with it.
I understand that. I know that you are conflict avoidant specifically about this topic, and it's very uncomfortable for you, and that you probably were incapable of talking about this or having this conversation until now. I believe all that, and yet I'm still enraged at you because you ditched me.
Sure, you can be enraged at me, and I still think that
Okay, so we both
Yeah,
have our
I
own
think that
separate
you're
perspectives. So
incredibly-
stop trying to replace my perspective with yours, and either
I'm not trying to
empathize-
replace your
then
perspective.
fucking empathize with me and listen to me, or just stop responding
I
to it.
think that it's ridiculous to think that
That's not
again,
empathetic.
I can be empathetic towards a whole lot of things, but when something is
Not
an
someone being angry
actual
at you.
need, when something is an actual need,
You
I-
lost empathy. Yes, you lose
do you-
empathy.
we
The
could-
topic
we
is so
could
triggering that you
use-
can't be empathetic.
we could use the same opposite interaction, right? Somebody says, I need time. I'm really interested in you, but I need time. And that person decides to push that boundary regardless, right? That itself could be a test. Is that not a test?
Sure.
Is that not a power play?
Yes, I'm not the one who fucking freaks out when I'm told that I made a power play. That's you. So flipping this around isn't really going to work.
I don't
I'm
think
still
it's a-
willing. I'm still willing to entertain ideas that I'm a manipulative asshole. That I was trying to provoke you because I'm angry at these women who control me. That
I
I'm
think
taking
you were
shit. That I'm
angry at
taking. That I'm
me.
wait. Shut the fuck up. Let me finish. That I'm taking shit out with Shaylin out on you. All of these other implications and ideas, or that I just hate women. I'm willing to entertain these ideas, and if you want to say them, I will listen to them. I'm not the person who is shutting down and
You are
refusing to
being
talk to you about this
such a
shit.
victim right now. You are being such a victim. I think that I think
What does that mean? Yes, I'm angry at you for ditching me. I have few friends in this space,
Yeah.
few friendly colleagues.
I
and
was
you,
still
you,
friendly with you. I may have been more distant. I still
No,
was
you,
supportive of you.
it's over. It's over. I can never trust you again.
Okay, fine.
Okay, there must be a way back from the darkness. Surely, come on, like that.
To
seems
what?
very
A
expensive.
way back to what? No, we can never be friends now. We can be friendly, distant colleagues, but I'm never fucking relying on you for anything. Absolutely not.
All right, that's fine. I'm not relying on you either. So
No shit. That's why we're not friends, because you didn't trust me and you didn't rely on me. I held my
Okay.
hand out for a long time and you never took it. So yeah, that's like.
I thought
there-
this was to fix this, and you're saying it seems like you're coming to this, and there's no solution possible. So what's the point
If,
of that?
if this is where Stardust is after 3 months, then no. Why would I want to? What do I get out of a friendship like that? Yeah, maybe
I'm
maybe
being
in 5
so
years.
honest to you, and this is like I feel like I'm being incredibly honest with you about how I'm feeling now, and yeah. I mean, I get it. You're upset at me for ditching you, but I'm trying to be as honest as possible with you.
No,
And,
I told you that you ditched me and you said you're such a victim. No, you're absolutely unempathetic.
You are
you're
being a
you're totally-
victim.
That's fine. You can laugh at me and call me a victim, but that's why we're not friends anymore. Next time, if you're wondering a few years down the line, hey, how come I'm not friends with Max anymore? Take this fucking moment and play it back in your mind. When I told you that you ditched me, I told you I was hurt. I came to you vulnerable and honest, and you laughed at me and called me a victim.
Okay, I'm sorry for hurting you. I'm
I don't
I'm
want your
sorry
apology.
For,
I want your empathy, but you don't have any.
Okay,
Not for
I
me, not
don't,
on this topic. And I understand that this topic is like when we talk about this topic, big red lights start flashing in your brain, and you probably can't empathize with me. But then what you should do, if you want to have friends, you should probably tell them not to give you feedback about this because you can't handle it, and you will torch the relationship if you hear anything you don't like.
I think we had a very lengthy discussion last time we talked about this topic. I think that's an indicator that I can have a conversation about this. And I was just uncomfortable. Again, I think
We had
that
a looping conversation that went nowhere because you
We
can't handle
did.
talking about it.
we
Yes.
we had a looping conversation because we just have fundamental differences on our definitions.
That's not a reason to loop. We can have
Yeah, it
fundamental
is.
differences. You could have just said, okay, I get why you're saying it's a test. Do you get why I'm saying it's not? And I would say yes.
But see, you weren't even at that point either.
Absolutely, I was.
You
my,
were not.
My problem,
You
my
were
problem
not. I
wasn't that.
specifically said so many times during that conversation that this may be a test. This may be a test based on what other people do, by certain definitions, maybe. But like for me,
That's
it
not
was
the
not
same
that.
thing I'm saying. I'm saying that you were not capable of or interested in acknowledging that I have a perspective and that internally, given my psychology and how I feel, my perspective makes sense to me. So the way to get past an impasse like that is you say, okay, I get why you're not calling it a test. I understand it's a need for you. But do you understand from the other perspective why it does feel like a power play? And then you'd say yes, and then we'd fucking move on. But you're not able to do that because you find it very threatening.
I think that it is
Your
unreasonable.
hold on your ability to say no to sex is so fucking tenuous that you can't acknowledge any perspective that might call it a power play or manipulative or controlling at all, because I think you feel like then you won't be able to say no. But I think you have every right to say no to sex, even if every other person on the planet gets together and votes and says Stardust shouldn't be able to say no to sex. Stardust has to have sex. I think you should still be able to say no. I think that is your right and your boundary that you should hold for yourself, no matter what anybody ever says to you.
Okay.
I mean, was there anything that could have happened here that would have actually fixed this? It sounds like it was over before it started.
Yes, you already said that, and I already responded. Yes.
No, but what specifically? Oh, you mean if she'd have
Well,
said, you know, she'd have
what
never
should
expected-
Stardust have said if she wanted to be friends with me? She should have come on the call and said, like, listen, before we start talking, I want to acknowledge that I've been avoiding this conversation for a long time. You reached out to me several times, and I basically ditched you, and I don't even know if we're friends anymore, but I really want to make this work, and I really want to figure this out. I don't want an apology, but an acknowledgement that, like, you completely withdrew from me, and also that I did it at a time when you needed a friend. I see that now. But I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle the last conversation. You're right. I was upset. I didn't say I was upset. And I did say it afterward. I said it publicly behind your back, but I haven't been ready to have this conversation with you to your face. It's something I'm working on. And then either A, I'm ready to have it now, or B, you know what I've learned about myself? I can't talk about this. I cannot talk about this, especially in front of an audience, and especially with somebody who's going to be as forceful and aggressive with their opinions as you are. It's not a good idea for me to do this. So in order to protect myself and to preserve our friendship, what's left of it, I would like to rebuild, but I can't talk about this with you. I can't just casually debate consent. I've learned this about myself. Not with you.
Okay, so I think
That's
that
what she
there's
should, that's what she would have said.
I think there's a lot of blame being thrown around right now.
I'm trying to answer Chud's question. What could Stardust have said to make me feel like a glimmer of hope for our friendship? There would have been that.
Sure. I guess you know, feel Stardust, is there anything you would have expected? I mean, I don't know. Like, it seems like it's kind of Mr. God that's setting the boundaries of what is and isn't acceptable. Do you have any ideas on that?
I think that Mr. Girl is very upset. I didn't mean to make him feel abandoned in his time of need, but
Yeah, we
I
can
did-
see a hog, dude. Like, what the fuck?
I didn't mean to make him feel upset in his time of need or in a time where he felt very lonely, but there's a lot of you know, I'm not here to throw blame around, right? I'm just not. I had an issue with what was said in the last conversation we had, and I've voiced some of those issues today, and yeah, that's all I can really say about it.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know. Is that it? I don't know if there's anything else to say. It sounds like Mr. Girl is pretty certain about how he feels about this. Yes.
I think I mean I think that's fair, you know, like the door is always open, but
For
but
what?
but if you are calling this now, no
The door's
problem.
open for what?
Okay, let me finish what I'm saying. The door is open if you want it, right? But I am certainly not forcing anything, and I'm fine if things have to be cut off here. So
I'm not saying I'm cutting you off. If you want to be friendly colleagues, we can be friendly colleagues. But we can't. We're not friends, though.
no, I don't think
A
we're
friend-
friends. I think you've made
Sure.
that very clear in this conversation. So
Did you think we were friends a week ago? Like, how the fuck could it?
I
how-
thought we
how
were
could you call-
friendly. I thought we were friendly at least.
Well,
Yeah.
Did you? I'm not. That's not the word I use. The word I use is friends. So, like,
I thought
usually,
we were
if you're
distant friends. Distant friends, yeah.
even a distant friend, I think if they get banned from YouTube and have this gigantic fight with a bunch of fucking Nazis who potentially ruin their career, you think you would like reach out and be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Right? Even a distant friend would do that. We're not friends. Any semblance of what a friend would do has been overshadowed by this conversation. And now you're going around right now in public saying that it's not overshadowed by this conversation being too triggering for you. No, suddenly your entire perspective on me as a person has 180'd. Now our friendship and your ability to be there for me is overshadowed, or even respond to my DMs is overshadowed by me trying to hurt you. It's not that the topic is too triggering and you're unaware of your own fucking feelings about it. It's that I am trying to hurt you. That's why
okay.
we're not friends. That doesn't make any
So-
fucking sense. How could you possibly call me a distant friend when this is how you act?
Okay, so when I talked about this in public, I talked about how things are weird between the two of us. And I don't think I put all of these things that you're saying on it.
You made a thumbnail immediately saying that asking if the bridge was burned. You didn't respond to my DMs, and like I said, when I very publicly
The thumbnail
had
was
this absolutely awful thing happen to me, you did not reach out.
Okay.
So there's no definition of friendship that I have that meets.
Sure.
You're saying it meets yours?
I mean, I can't really say, like, I can't really say because I mean, I felt bad for you and I said that it was wrong, right? But I don't know. I guess we were just distant, you know? It just didn't feel like it just, yeah.
Okay,
You don't
listen,
you don't
let's
want to
address
answer
the
the
elephant.
question? Do you
I'm not
think that
sure
you
what
have been do you think that you have been a friend to me for the last 3 months?
I think again, I considered you a distant friend. I didn't consider you a close friend.
Okay,
So.
I'll stop asking since you're not going to answer.
Okay, here's my question, right? Because I do like, what's the reason you didn't reach out when Max was going through all that terrible shit?
I just figured I would voice support for him, and I thought that that was appropriate, voicing support. And I thought that it was wrong. Like, you know,
Wait, sorry,
I thought,
because you did tweet about it, right? You tweeted about it, correct?
I tweeted and I said stuff on my stream and stuff, but I didn't reach out to him personally. Okay. Yeah. So I just felt like, you know, that was kind of the stage where I was at with it. That's pretty much it. I didn't really think beyond that.
Someone in the chat is saying Stardust never thought of Mr. Girl as a real friend. Is that true?
That's not true.
Okay. So let's put that to rest. People are saying Mr. Girl is always so much more involved in his friendship, emotionally involved in relationships with people than the other person is.
That's not true. I thought that you were one of my closest, if not my closest friend, content creator friend, online.
Okay.
I'm just, you know, like, I guess the thing is, based on what you said, it seemed like the Stardust didn't even mention it, but she did at least like tweet about it, right? So even if she felt uncomfortable talking to you directly, at least she said something to kind of show support for you. That's
yeah,
something
a distant
friend would
cussed.
do,
No,
surely.
that's not. I don't know.
And I mean, I said stuff on stream.
I have a lot of
know.
friends, and most of them don't tweet about me, but all of them asked me how I was doing. ChudLogic did.
Okay.
We talk often about how both of us are doing, like fucking friends do.
But we haven't had like some rift that's caused us to break apart for a period of time, right?
Sure. If I do something that makes you well, I don't think that would happen because I did do something that made you angry, and we had a fight on stream. You yelled at me that you were angry at me, and you told me why you were angry at me. And we talked about it, and then we talked about it off stream too.
I think this is
That's
very,
what I would
like,
expect of a friend. Like
I think this is very disingenuous though. Like I have supported you even when it has gotten me so much flack, right? Before anybody else did, and I continued to support you publicly even though we had our falling out. So I don't think this is necessarily fair.
You're more afraid of this topic than you are of catching flack.
I mean, honestly, I think the most flack I have ever got was from my association to you and my association to Richard Spencer. So
I know.
Yeah.
I don't think you're afraid. I don't think that scares you. I think this topic scares you.
I don't know that it scares me. I think I was just very uncomfortable and I didn't know how to proceed with our friendship, essentially. But I do think that it's a little bit disingenuous to say that, like, I didn't care about what happened to you. I did clearly care. I did clearly voice support, you know.
If you didn't care, I wouldn't be upset with you. I'm upset with you because you care, because I know that you care about me. If you didn't care about me, then we just wouldn't be friends. That's why I'm hurt. I'm hurt because I know that you do care about me. But I'm like you, but except with conflict and friendships. Friendships are pretty easy to have at first because you don't have any really bad feelings about the other person. You're happy every time you see them. You get along with them. There's nothing complicated or really upsetting to talk about. You can just kind of like gossip, shoot the shit, whatever. But eventually, at some point in every friendship, there will be conflict. Someone will do or say something that hurts the other person. And then you will find out how intimate the person is really capable of being. And there's a couple of solutions to that. One is if the person's not capable of having conflict, you just can't get that close to them. And so you have a more distant friendship. But the closeness of the friendship has to reflect how much conflict the friendship can sustain. But our friendship was past that point. Also, there are friends who can not talk to me for 3 months and we can pick up like nothing happened. Like I do have friends they're like old distant friends like that, but this is very different. It's very different to do that, to find out like, oh, Stardust she's not trustworthy. This is my test. This is my power play. Stardust is not trustworthy. If you make her mad, she will ghost you. No matter how.
I wasn't even mad at you.
Okay, you make her scared, she'll ghost you. You make her uncomfortable, she'll ghost you. Whatever the fuck the word. If you do the wrong thing with Stardust, she's gone. And like, I don't want to be friends with people like that. I don't want to rely on you ever again. I can't trust people like that.
Okay, so I did not publicly make you an enemy. I did not.
I don't care if you publicly. I don't give a fuck what you didn't do. I'm talking about what you did.
Okay.
You ditched me. I can't be friends with somebody who runs from conflict like that.
I'm sorry I didn't react the way that you wanted me to react, but that's just
Fuck
not
you.
the way that I was going to react.
That's such a bullshit response. I'm sorry I didn't react the way you wanted me to react, but that just wasn't how I was going to react. That doesn't mean anything. You can't even have this conversation. You like literally can't handle conflict. If you can't handle conflict, we can't really be friends. But what I don't want is a relationship where I provide all the warmth, I provide all the understanding, I provide all the conflict resolution, where I'm basically fucking parenting you, walking you through how to deal with being mad at somebody.
I don't
And not ditch them for 3 months. It's like you're acting like a fucking 14-year-old. You're not emotionally mature enough for me to be friends with you.
I think that I needed, again, after that conversation, I was uncomfortable and I just needed space, and that's what I did. I took space. I didn't ask you,
No,
you know, I didn't need you to hold my hand. I didn't need, I didn't need anybody else to hold my hand.
Even if you, okay, taking 3 months of space after that conversation is a friendship destroying act
we
for most
talked
relationships.
Occasionally.
We didn't know. No, it was a very icy, cold, distant, fake shit. No, we didn't.
Okay, icy cold. Okay, so it wasn't icy cold to me, but
yeah, your definition of closeness and warmth is super different from mine, obviously.
Okay.
This may seem normal to you. It may be normal to you in your life for people to just not speak to each other when they have conflict. In fact, I'm positive that it is. I am almost certain that this is how you are, and this is how people treat you, and you probably put up with it, and they put up with it from you. I don't want this shit in my life. No, I can't. Right. I can't do that. So we can be colleagues, because that is friendly colleagues. I have a good deal of affection for you. I like you. I like you a lot. And I always will. But our relationship now needs to change into a relationship where this makes sense. We can have a relationship where if I make you uncomfortable and I don't hear from you for 3 months, or I have some horrible thing happen to me, you don't check in with me, and I won't give a shit, that's fine. That's the relationship that we need to have now. Okay. Colleagues.
That's fine.
So like irrelevant. He didn't check in with me. That's fine. He doesn't have to. I like irrelevant. I like him a lot. He's a cool dude. I have no sense that he should or even would reach out to see how I'm doing.
All right.
Okay. I mean, sounds like Stardust, you know, you don't sound too concerned about this friendship going anyway. So like,
It sucks, but it is what it is. So.
okay, well, before we sort of end things, I mean, is there any way to rebuild trust? Is there anything that can be done there to
Sure.
rebuild that trust?
If Stardust changes in some pretty significant ways with ability to communicate about conflict, and I mean, it seems like the biggest problem is her not even knowing how she is feeling. If it takes you 3 months to figure out how you're feeling about something well enough to talk about it, I don't see how an intimate or even reasonably close friendship with you is possible. But yeah, if those things change, then sure, we can talk
I think
about it
Mr.
later.
Girl needs
But
to own up to being purposely antagonistic. I think he needs to own up to calling something that is necessary and contradicting himself several times, not just in this conversation, but in the last conversation, calling something unreasonable, power play, unnecessary. You've used these adjectives for power play while simultaneously saying that something can be a power play and be necessary. I just don't think that's the case. I think a lot of you also have to own up to the fact that you're calling a power play. You have such a broad definition of what a power play is. That anything under the sun could be a power play. So I mean, like, yeah, I don't really have anything to say about our friendship. Like, you know, it is what it is. So.
okay, let this be a teachable moment for the audience. People who don't know how they feel will ascribe their feelings to you and say that you caused them on purpose.
I think you were purposely being antagonistic.
Okay, so you think I'm just lying to you now?
No, I do think you're lying to me. I think you were upset about me taking Shaylin's side in that conflict a little bit before, and you brought it up midway in that conversation, and you were upset with me, and
Wait,
and you took
how
it
did
out
I
on
say
me.
you took Shaylin's? What is Shaylin's side?
On the whole thing with the doll review or whatever. You
Do you
brought that
think
up mid conversation and said, "Well, you said this. You said that you thought I was wrong for this, and I think you were resentful of me for
do you think
saying that."
Shaylin thinks that I was abusive and wrong?
No, I didn't call you abusive. I just said that I thought you were
You
wrong
said it
for
was
the way.
really fucked up.
Did I say it was really fucked up?
Or you said maybe said I was a jerk.
I said you were a jerk. Yeah, I don't think I called it really fucked
Do you
up.
think is that what you think Shaylin's side is?
I
That I'm
don't
a jerk?
I don't well, okay, so maybe that's not her side. Maybe her perspective on that is different from mine. But you didn't like my perspective on that. And I think that you were resentful of me for my perspective on that. So, and I think you were trying to elicit a negative reaction from me. So,
Okay, well, all I can do is say that if you're saying, I mean, I can just tell you you're wrong. If you're saying that I purposely was doing that and I was trying to hurt you, then no, I wasn't. If you're saying I unconsciously was lashing out at you, I can't speak to that.
okay.
okay. Well, one thing I do want to do before we wrap this up, Mr. Girl, do you want to just shout your stuff out so we would know where to find you in your time of cancellation?
You can't find me. I'm scorched off of the internet.
Just answer the fucking question, mate. Where's your website?
Bridges being burned left and right.
What? Okay. What's your website where people
I've
can
been
watch stuff?
voted into oblivion. The Nazis are finishing what Hitler started.
I'm going to finish what it started if you don't say your fucking website, mate. What is it?
I won't. No, I'm not going to say it. Fuck you.
Why not?
Because I don't want to.
But why? It's you know, there's a...
Because I can't. I don't know why. I just can't. I can't right now.
Okay, mate. Well, that's fair enough. It's your decision.
I'm Stardust. You can find me twitch.tv/Stardust or youtube.com/Stardust streams. Also, I just want to say that I think the last part of this conversation also was like very manipulative and very weird. So, just putting all the blame in one direction and no accountability. So,
Mr. Girl, I've just intellectually raped you and posted a link to your website in my chat. How do you feel about that?
It's nice of you.
Okay, good. So it's okay. It's like consent, non-consent, right? Yeah, cool. Okay. Guys, I don't know. Listen, I'm sorry I couldn't. I'd say there's a lot of tension here. Maybe in the future, who knows? But it sounds like it's pretty much done for now. So, I guess we'll end it there.
okay. Thanks. See you guys later.
See you later.
Bye.
Oh. Just a second. That was something.